Hello and welcome. I'm going to do an energy reading. I'm going to pull animal spirits. I do have messages. I woke up with messages, but right when I was sitting down here to record, two mourning doves came to my window again. They've been doing this, but they never used to. This is a recent thing. These birds. So the message that I woke up with today, there's so much to be said. I hope this reading is like 30 minutes. This is funny. This bird is carrying a stick in its mouth, walking along my windowsill. Perhaps they're building a nest out here. That would be nice. I welcome their presence. But anyway, you know, the animal realm is messengers, so I'm always just like noticing, as many people are. So what I woke up with today, just a general statement. They can't give up the struggle because they can't give up the behavior. And it immediately, like if you see a flow chart with like a thing that has like prongs that branch off, it immediately had multiple interpretations. And so the first one is sort of, I think, the initial obvious interpretation around people not being able to allow themselves to let go of certain kinds of hurt because it's enabling them to stay in a certain place. And there's some type of blockage with being able to transcend that space because of how it's going to collapse a certain part of the way the ego has formed. That is when adults put up the firmest walls, is when they're trying to protect their ego. So there's something around, I mean, it's still carrying through a message about blind spots from last week, but it has to do with not realizing if a person thinks that everything is fine, can't give up the struggle because they need the behavior, would indicate that they're actually existing in a state of struggle. And if they're in a state of struggle, but they're equating it to being fine or like flourishing or prospering, then they're enclosing their reality into accepting and tolerating a much lesser state of being. And that could be for a bunch of different things, you know, like health or the kind of relationship they tolerate and welcome into their life. So I think that something that is happening right now is that a lot of people might be realizing the ways in which this applies to me too, in certain things that I've been realizing as things have been changing recently. Things that, like, if I were to recount events and tell somebody else about something that happened, be very observant over how you frame things and tell of certain things, and always try to do a little bit of a circumnavigation through different perspectives before you. I just saw like from, it was like a cartoon like from Robin Hood, but like, you know how they have the blanket out and it's like a trap, or like Venus flytrap, but like that little blanket, and then the little animal walks in, and then it's like, before you bundle up and cinch off your account of things, make sure that you're not going to a certain version that protects a certain aspect of yourself that you're unwilling to part with or unwilling to integrate. Because when we shape things to help us understand them, like first person, when we process things for our own edification, we oftentimes get in the way of fully, this is why we have sticking points that we do not heal through over multiple, this is why we have patterns, right? But this is what I think is like creating tension in people's lives, like where you are the most emotionally activated, positively or negatively. I mean, really more so negatively, but just take a look at the root of what has led to those situations and what you might be inadvertently hiding from yourself. That's the message that I woke up with. It's not like the nicest message. I know people prefer to have messages where it's like, you're doing great, fabulous things are coming. This is true, but this is like, it's a really important season to just turn your conscious mind on for integration. Hang on, little boy has a fluffy. I got you. Had a little Fluffy's stuck in his face. My doggy's doing well. He's a sweet little angel. It's cute, but my dog kind of, it's like he knows that something's different with him. He doesn't understand what, but he's very adaptive to all the little changes we've had to make for the fact that he has diabetes and has little care instructions now and is on a bunch of different medications because he survived without that being detected for quite a while there, which can lead to complications. So anyway, he's doing well. I'm doing well. Another thing about, so this like eclipse energy tower moment type thing, there's something around whatever went on with my dog and however this is panning out in my life, like blessing in disguise energy. Okay, so you might be encountering like challenging obstacles or things that are really hard to move past for whatever reason. Those are somehow blessing in disguise right now. Before I get to that though, I was gonna finish a thought around, I was gonna say, oh yeah, don't coast through this season. Don't coast through Taurus season, because something about like, excuse me, I was saying this in the videos from 2 days ago, like Aries season sets things ablaze. It sets things on fire. And only like the key core elements of who you are going to be remaining. I mean, I love Aries season because it's like trial by fire and sanitization again around like burning off all the crap that doesn't serve us. And it also makes me think of high vibrational energy and like raising your vibration so that there are certain beings, whether it be people or entities, like vampiric succubus stuff, like if you're at a certain level, you just won't be compatible. Like certain people won't bother you anymore or whatever it is. Just burning off all of the crap because it's not compatible. And it's not aggressive, it's simply truthful, it's simply pure, it's simply different in its resonance. And Taurus season is about grounding that in, grounding that down, and grounding it in with a lot of care and intention, because either way, it's going to get grounded in. Either way, this is a grounded season. I have a toasted Asiago bagel that's cooling. I didn't time this whole thing right. I have a couple bites, but I know it's not good to eat while I'm doing this. But anyway, if you run on autopilot, something is going to get grounded into your life. And we have an opportunity to ensure that we are co-creating what that is right now. Because then when, May 20th, I see a little, like whatever got built, like those little, what's this, Mouse Hunt? No, Stuart Little. In Central Park from that Stuart Little movie with the little boats, it's like we're building something all Taurus season from whatever got burnt during Aries season. We make the little boat and then we put it in the water, and then the wind comes with Gemini, like faster moving, freer relations and communications, but also freer form of thought. All of what we're doing and grounding, it feels like a supportive cushion rising up from the earthen energies to meet where we're at right now. And it's going to feel good, but it's not an invitation to become passive, because then we're going to be like swept into an accelerated season of seeing these things go somewhere, seeing these things take us somewhere. Yeah. Let's get an animal spirit for that. Let's get an animal spirit for that message. I also had, oh my God. I think I will say this. Here's the animal spirit for that message though. Ant spirit, time to collaborate. Yeah, like linking things together, right? So this is collaboration with people in your life. This is number one, so it's a beginning. But it's also collaboration with yourself and your internal parts. And the parts of yourself, like I said in the beginning, like what struggles are you inadvertently keeping down. I see this very thin latex thing, and it's got pins, the kind that you would do like a map with, like the colorful head pins, very thin. It's like, what are your sticking points? And you're continuing to hold this struggle in place in a certain way where you could start to pick up these pins, you know, and like you might prick yourself. That's part of it. A sewer, a seamstress knows that there are ways, right? There are thimbles. That's not the end of the world. There's certain little excuses that people might be telling themselves at this time that's preventing them from sinking into like the meat and the roots of what has been keeping them stuck and in a place of not being able to fully collaborate with the wisdom of their own spirit and the brilliance of their own mind because of past burdens and hurts. So that's really important. Oh yeah, I remember. I'm gonna get current energy first. It's the current energy. There it is. Okay, so it fell out. It's the Eight of Wands. Something that's been happening to me recently is that I've been getting these deep and intense deja vus this whole past week and a little bit this week. Last week, like the week of the eclipse was on Monday. Last week was insane for me. Big week. I had a deja vu, and it was not a normal deja vu. It was a deja vu in which I knew that I had already had this deja vu, and then I knew that I had dreamed about the deja vu the night prior. And I also saw a different timeline that got redacted or canceled, or I never walked, my consciousness never, it was so strange, where I had also experienced that deja vu, but then I was in a different, there were certain anomalies, like a spot the difference, basically. And I was on the phone with a customer or a client. I was in my work environment, and the way that my eyes tracked what was said to me, you know what a deja vu feels like, but it was this coinciding of things, and it wasn't just one, oh, it feels familiar, oh, it's a funny thing. It just like the message from this morning, like a flow chart, branched off into these other understandings. And for me, and like my guidance and my experiences, it lets me know that we're very close. We're very close. We're very much in multidimensionality all the time. The co-created experience that we're all having is touched on all sides by other timelines and other realities, and activity around and with the eclipse, and what the solar and cosmic activity does, you know, with the Schumann resonance and to the people. I think it's very interesting. These things are affecting humans' bodies, and things are changing so incredibly quickly, and to the point where people don't even realize how they are changing. A lot of people that I've talked to who aren't necessarily as deep into spiritual stuff just say, I've been really tired since the eclipse, just really tired, which is super valid. It's been exhausting. And with that, always see like these big transits and stuff. It's like you're doing more work than you think you are. Your exhaustion is valid, and it's okay to give yourself the breaks and the rest that you need. Additionally, I've been getting a lot of very interesting insight and visions through dreams. And I've been able to project my energy and like my personal power and thinking about how I'm evolving in the world. Project that out. Ooh, the sun just came out outside when I said that. Project it out farther and almost like leave behind. Thank you. This is the other thing that I wanted to say. It's almost like after the eclipse, there's some things that are still holding us to who we are, who we've been, our lives, karma, sorting things out. But there's a small group of people who will resonate with, I mean, I only have a small group of people watching this channel anyway, but an even smaller group among whatever are going to be able to feel how you can basically move forward without certain baggage at this point. you can effectively exist in a vacuum where there's certain types of, you know, dissenting opinions or contradictory, like somebody, I don't know, say you're creating a life and a world and a way of being, and this is how you envision your future, and someone else is going that way. That's fine, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can still allow live and let live type stuff, but there's no more of the masses or the matrixy stuff. There's no more. You are free and clear to operate on a timeline that serves you of your own creation. And if you're not there yet, you can still put that together. And it allows you to experience this freedom away from a lot of the collective suffering and oppression that a lot of people are going to start to, like, you know, I'm seeing waters and eye level and like standing outside of an aquarium and being able to look right over the top of the water, but then like, you know, and then the glass and like just levels of immersion and submersion. Because if we think about it, consciousness and the way that people perform and show up in life, I mean, you can really readily accept somebody vibrationally. People perform their consciousness. They show you where their blind spots are. We show ourselves where our blind spots are when we reflect on how we've behaved. But it's also not as easy as to say like, oh, well, I know, you know, there's a difference between that, being sensitive and feeling people, and like judgment. So just be sure to engage a lot of compassion and give people the benefit of the doubt, because you don't know what's shifting within them, and you don't know how the way that things are shifting within them is making them feel and therefore behave. Not to say tolerate any type of unjust treatment or disrespect. There's a happy middle. Okay, I guess I'm getting drawn to pull an animal spirit for that message and with the advice right now for relations with others. Split the deck and get this card here. Co-create with spirit. Exactly, this is Crow. It's number 17, okay? So what I'm getting with this is what I said before about being able to move into this new way of progressing that is completely at this point it's detached from, you know, the lower way of life that a lot of people are like trying to move beyond, which is simply, you know, it's more material, superficial bound without feeling into the co-creative abilities of the energetics and the potentials and all that. So let's get the energy to embrace or clarify 8 of Wands in the current energy first. Clarifying 8 of Wands in the current energy. Too many. Oh, just one. It's 5 of Cups. Okay, what's the energy to embrace? The 2 of Cups. What's the energy to release? Okay. These 3 are face down, okay? This is hidden energy, advice, biggest sticking point. Hidden energy, advice, biggest sticking point. I'm gonna put them down. Hidden energy, advice, biggest sticking point. This is our energy to release. All right. This is the current energy. Feeling like things are moving fast and we're missing things, or even if we're like processing stuff and feeling overwhelmed, it's okay. It's okay. I think what we don't see. Okay, wait, this was hidden energy, advice, sticking point. What's the hidden energy? The Wheel of Fortune. Exactly. So what we don't see because we're burying our heads, it's actually this energy of this is okay. You know, I almost feel, again, talking about like fire and sanitization, I have a weird birth chart because I have a lot of fire and water and not a whole lot of other stuff going on. And I'm a very moody person, and I try to take accountability for that and not project it onto other people. But when I go through a lot, I have like these super swells of like massive mental breakdown, and it doesn't mean that anything's wrong. It's just the way that I process how things are happening in my life, and having to kind of like carry on and handle things while feeling like I wanted to bury my head in the sand and have like emotions, like in some way it's okay. to process the things that you're feeling. The wheel is turning. This chaos, this post-eclipse heightened energy of like things like kind of popping off in different directions and people being, you know, a little more wired feeling to be around. A lot of people have been feeling out of sorts. It's bringing us back to stasis and harmony. This is the energy to embrace. And this is the hidden energy. The Wheel of Fortune is helping us feel our way back. And this is an intuitive compass that you use to feel your way back. But what I'm getting is that we actually have to allow, and think about this. These eight wands moving through the air. It's almost like a big, elementally like a windy gust, or like if somebody throws something, that sound like, it's like we can't keep up right now. But that's an illusion. It's an illusion. And it's leading us to where we need to be. And in the energy to release position, we have 2 swords cards, which is interesting because we have a major arcana, 2 cups cards, and wands. And what I get through this is just like, spirit is our wind. You're not in control of the way that the wheel is turning. There's a lot of crazy stuff, and there will continue throughout Q2 of 2024 and beyond to be crazy stuff that we're not in control of. And we have to be able to feel our feelings, but also hold the faith and the trust and see this as something of a cyclical existence where we can find a way to, with every turn of the wheel, make it into a spiral, and continue to bring ourselves up through the challenges and the speed of it, rather than, staying here. And this is like, last week was really hard for me. I was like, even though I have negative feelings doesn't mean I'm in a negative spot. It's been a long time since I felt as low as I felt throughout the last 2 months. I've had a couple different points where I'm like, wow, I really feel like upset, or I really feel sad in a way that I just don't experience that much anymore. Maybe I used to 10 years ago, like all the time, or, these states that don't seem to have a resolution that end up compounding and turning into full-blown, depression or other mental health issues. Like, I'm very lucky that I've helped myself be able to course correct and be mindful enough, self-healing modalities, really, to not be susceptible to those low lows. But the fact of the matter is that they're part of life. It's just about how you handle them. So it's really hard to be in these states, and especially when it sort of feels like the wind is battering at your door. There's been tons of really intense storms throughout all different parts of at least my general region, where there's literally wind and rain and sticks like battering the sides of the building, that I live in, and all the other buildings. And but there's a rhyme and a reason, and we have to trust. So the energy to release, the swords of it all, sitting, contemplating, resting, gearing up, processing, almost like this energy is almost like a NASCAR pit stop where they do the whole like squeaky wheel, shiny tire. I don't watch that stuff. So, but you get what I'm saying. When the car stops and the little team pops out and they all have matching onesies, that's the part that I think is cool. Energy to release. There's something about us trying to, this ties exactly back into what I was saying with like trying to I'm having like a cartoon where there's like frames, a vision. It's 2 people having a little bit of an argument, and then you see the one person kind of retreat within themselves. Both people had good points. Both people were right. Both people were wrong. Pretty even argument, pretty neutral situation, just something that happened, right? And you have those people go back into their separate lives. And if you have one person that sort of retells the thing in a way that absolves them of any type of like further learning, like, oh, maybe I did kind of miss something there, but they don't want to do that because that requires going into a little bit more of a Pandora's box around like, oh, this isn't just a one-time thing. There's a deeper thing that we tend to, in ego and in conscious self, try to avoid But the ego is also supposed to help us, remind us of who we are and how we're different than other people. It's not to be killed entirely. There's a function for it. There's a function for it. But it's almost like the people, the people go on and they retell that. And the way that they would retell it to like, if the one person is with their friends and they're explaining what happened, the way that they explain it is such that all the people they say it to would be like, ah, I see your situation. I side with you. The other person was wrong. And so just be really careful that when you're stopping to integrate things, you're not trying to steal away with aspects of the truth and cut out parts of the narrative, right? Because we like this energy in general, but this bundle is in the release position. What do we like about this? It's thoughtful, it's contemplative, it is in the realm of swords and thought and logic. But this one, you see he's holding one sword, there's two on the ground. It's almost like these four swords. He's not doing this process right. This is four swords, he's holding one, he's got two on the flank and then one there. He's taking these four swords, he's doing it wrong, okay? There's some type of, again, with blind spot energy, you sometimes don't like the way it feels, unfortunately. To allow your life, instead of going around and around and around and repeating the same patterns, in order to transcend your own limiting patterns and behaviors, you have to kind of actually sit in it and allow it to lead you back to balance. So the energy that we're releasing is the reluctance to doing that. And a lot of people don't even realize that they're not doing that. Maybe that's not their path yet. Something will happen where they will eventually start to realize that if that's what they're doing, that's what they're doing. But the danger for somebody else would be in like, pointing out people's blind spots is nobody's responsibility. That's just a holier than thou type of ego-based attitude. You have to be able to accept and respect where other people are at and not project yourself into that. Just come back to the self and focus on the self. What's the advice for that from the animal deck? Yeah. 13, 4. 4 is a number of stability. All four paws on the ground. That's so cute. I love you, Mutt. He's such a sweet dog, you guys. I can't even tell you. I've just been going through a lot of stuff, but I also have been going through a lot of like really beautiful, blissful moments of gratitude and just realizing how amazing my life is and how much is yet to come and how absolutely grateful and blessed I am for so many things. And the fact that my dog has survived and he's doing fun, just so many things. Emotional intensity, that's all. But anyway, what I just said is, if you find yourself in a state of tension or dissatisfaction, and it has to do with the way that you might be disappointed with how other people are doing things, free yourself of that. Free yourself of that. Again, with the struggle and the behavior, if that's a struggle, then the behavior, the subconscious thing would be that the behavior of being like it's other people who are causing the issue, that's what's functioning for you. And perhaps there's something that you're denying yourself the access to step into and rise into because you're saying it's other people's fault somehow, or other people's actions are preventing you from doing something. That's a self-imposed limiting belief. It doesn't have to be like that. And so the behavior, right? I'm not going to keep going with that. I feel like people understand that. You can choose to set yourself free of things only when you see them as movable, right? Or separate. I'm also seeing different pieces of like a Lego set, and we actually didn't notice how many. Oh, this is cool as well, because yesterday, I haven't shared this in a long time. I tend not to talk about the nature of my work on the YouTube channel because it's conflict of interest-y and it doesn't matter. But I'm an interior design consultant doing small and medium and somewhat large scale, renovations and updates to people's houses. And I was doing a drawing yesterday for new cabinetry and peninsulas, and it was a sketch by hand. But I was seeing the countertop an L shape, large, peninsula countertop, and imagining and working with the dimensions of the base cabinets that were going to support it. And you could have as many different, you could have 8 cabinets side by side. You could have one big cabinet with 3 doors on it. And it's almost like we realize sometimes when we think that unit that you can't see is just one big chunk, then we don't know how to break it up and we don't know how to detangle it. And there's certain things within our own avoidant tendencies that we're realizing have more joints in them than we thought. And so instead of being base cabinets under a countertop, it's like Legos. And we're holding this thing like we're a child, and we're able to break it apart. And we're able to, once you, so if I had an object made out of Legos, the surface area would be calculated via, all the exposed sides. But once you start to deconstruct that thing and you have individual pieces of Lego, you have an increased amount of surface area. I can not only look at, the whole object, but I can look at the whole object. I can take it apart and look at each part's 4 sides, or however many sides the object has. And so there's something around being able to be smart enough or activated enough, triggered enough. The wise will do it naturally. The people who have no more rope left will be forced into this process. And then there will naturally be like new energies just drawing people into these kinds of processes. There's just different waves that people are coming through this season on. What did I say before? So the first card, hidden energy, advice, and biggest sticking point. Here's the advice, 9 of Wands. Biggest sticking point, the moon. What I'm hearing about this is that we don't see certain things. Our intuition is recalibrating because we're being very occupied in the 3D realm. I'm not saying that you're ever severed from your intuition when you're very busy in the 3D realm. But if you don't take that time to get quiet and connect back to yourself, it can be harder to go off of your intuitive nudges. And sometimes we have these spurts of activity where we're really busy, and then once we get quiet again, we realize how we might have gotten caught up, or we might have been enacting one of the scripts that we want to unwrite. And what I'm getting is that it's okay right now to be a little, what is this? I don't know, it's some old-fashioned thing. What are these remarks? Bullheaded, boneheaded, or thick-skulled? Something, and like buffoon, these words. I'm like seeing like a stubborn buffoon energy. Sorry, I don't know. We're just rolling with it. It's okay to be stubborn in the ways that you're guided to right now, and just focus on the stuff that you have to focus on and protect your own, and be as you need to be. Because then once we get to a little bit of a calmer space, the intuition is going to, allow us to see where we were right, where we were wrong. And your greatest strength is allowing yourself to be both right and wrong whenever you truly are. Don't shy away from your own mistakes. They are the gateways to your next level and becoming somebody who is more than you were yesterday, more mature, more compassionate, more excited to keep existing, more capable of handling things, more enlightened, more integrated, more aware of your own self, and more forgiving of others. Just, there's something around this where it's like, it's okay to just be how you are right now. Something is kind of giving way. Shuffle out a clarifier for that situation, and then let me get a clarifier from that came out in a funny way. It's the Queen of Cups. Love is the biggest lubricant, any type of squeaky, sticking something. I was talking to somebody about something the other day, and I was like, whenever I'm in a situation like that, and I'm with somebody, I just say in my mind, I love you. I do. I love you. I love you, because it primes you remember that you come from a space of love. In challenging conversations, it can be some strange person that you're talking to in public on the street, but to have that within you reminds you of where you could be coming from. And again, it's not like I'm thinking about how that message could be received. It's like, there's also just something maternal about it, and being able to transcend this is a feminine card, obviously, so being able to transcend like more of an immature expression of feminine energy, and allow for feminine energy to be what it is supposed to be, which is very healing, supportive, nurturing, but it's not, forceful. It allows, but that doesn't mean that it's weak. It's very, very strong in its conviction, which is very destabilizing to anything that does not want to be love or accept love. This kind of energy of unconditional love, it just tolerates, and allows for things to be. There are energies and creatures and people that don't like that, because then they have to become aware of what they are or something. What's an animal spirit for that message? Watch and wait. Watch and wait. Yeah, watch and wait. So watch and wait, that's kind of what he's doing. This is the advice. This is the sticking point. It's almost like there's a little bit of a rocky road right now, but we're going to harmonize again in this space of love. This is literally a harmony card to be embraced, right? Watch and wait. It doesn't mean, like I said at the beginning of this reading, to enter a space of passivity. It's watching and waiting around your expectations. It doesn't mean like, I'm just going to go home and wait. Watch. It's not what it's saying. It just means that you don't have to worry about how things are going, because they're always going to be different than what you expect, and they're changing rapidly. Okay. Again, I'm sorry that I keep chewing. Okay. I'd like to just I'm gonna cut this deck after I shuffle it, and then I'm gonna get incoming energy. I'll get incoming energy. And that's it. What's incoming energy? Positive movement forward. Remember when I said Stuart Little and the little sailboats? In Taurus season, it's like the universe is like, here you go, little tyke, and it dumps a pile of sticks and leaves and little pieces of plastic, almost like a bunch of junk, and we're supposed to upcycle it into something. But this is also thinking about cremation and relics that get left behind after the burials of like monks and lamas and stuff in different religions and cultures. We're also assembling a beautiful little boat made out of like gems, right? Core essential ingredients. Allow for what does not serve you and what connects you to lower timelines vibrationally. Allow that to not be part of your construction. Use the energy of Taurus season to ground your new ways of being that exist entirely free of your old self. Build a little boat and wait till the end of May, and a big gust of wind and momentum will come, positive movement forward, and it will take you somewhere. And that is, it was 3939 when I looked up, which is 1212, which is 33, which is 6, which is the energy of the heart. And 33 is also my life path number. And If you know anything about life path numbers, life path 33 is known as the master teacher. That's why I'm doing this, because I have always been channeling and transmitting information, but like the amount that I'm channeling, I'm just putting this out there because it's a really good time if you have any type of misguidedness or confusion to tap into like how, like really, what is your star chart? What is your life path? What do you love to do? What do you really not like to do that you've always had to do? Or just all of it. And take it seriously and let it be some type of beautiful map that can let you find more fulfillment at this time. Because again, we have so much potential to radically reality shift from now until the end of the year. I mean, it's going to keep happening, but this is such a fulcrum of a year, a fulcrum, a tipping point, a thing upon which other things hinge. 2024 is very much like that. And so there's just a lot of excitement. A lot of excitement. I know from the way my life has been since 2012, when my personal awakening began, and how it is now, but there is tons of people, and you almost have something to offer to the world that's like outside of you. Angels and Spirit is asking right now for you to honor that, because it's bigger than you. I tend to get all wrapped up in this, and I'm like, am I doing it right? Do people like my YouTube channel? You know, should I not eat my bagel? This doesn't matter. Whatever. It's bigger than me and my ego and my weirdness about putting videos on the internet. It's like there's something that's being created, and there's also a message within this for people around, like, if you do have some hesitation about something that you're trying to move into or create, don't worry about that. Just be it. Each and every day, embody a little bit more of the version of yourself that you can conceive of that's effortlessly doing it. Just, take little bits of that into, again, the build of this little boat that you're going to construct over the next month. Free and clear supportive energy is coming in to help people move away from a lot of the anxiety that has come up within us for the last 2 weeks. So I hope that people are feeling good and attached to that and feel the optimism of that. It's easy to do that when the weather shifts for us and we have, at least in the northern hemisphere, a break in the weather and more of a consistent spring. So I pulled 3 animals just to finish off the reading. And I've got Nightingale Spirit, love is all around, which is beautiful because of what I was saying earlier about the Queen of Cups, which is that energy that's going to help us kind of get around this stubborn, bullheaded or boneheaded. I just don't really get, I see, it's like this old fashioned description. Like, you ever see those old like advertisements or textbooks and it's describing something and you're like, I can't believe it was written like this. It's like one of those things, and it says like figure 1, and it's like the buffoon. Love disassembles and disarms any type of idiocy because it allows for things to be, and there's just no room for criticality in this season if you come from a wise mind and a wise heart, because you see why things are the way they are, why people are the way they are. You just see it. And once you see it, you accept, right? And it doesn't mean that you give a pass for the things that are dark and evil in the world. It means that you understand why that prospers and why that's a thing. And so you go over there and you become the love and the antidote. It's actually quite simple. Anybody holding the torch and stoking the flame of adversity and continued separation is fueling the more negative timeline instead of trying to unionize people into greater depths of understanding. Okay, so then we have Swan Spirit. Time for a deep dive. 60. What I just saw is our friend here, this little boat, chugging along until we get to what comes after Gemini season, Cancer season, deep dive. So we want to construct our new vessels, new timelines, new ideas, new embodiments in such a way that they're going to benefit from being lifted up, first grounded into the 3D. And by that, I also mean grounded into our bodies, our minds, having ourselves be able to take certain energies or energetic changes that have affected us in our bodies and imagine them, allow them to change the way that you can visualize things for yourself at this point. Because if you haven't done that in a minute, if you sit and get quiet and think about what it is you want and what it is you can create, you will realize that your ability to do that has changed and what you want has changed. So that's what Taurus season is for. And then Gemini season gives us a little bit of a lift of momentum within whatever that is during Taurus season for you. And then once we get to Cancer season, it's like it goes into the depths, and we see how, when something goes into the depths, I personally used to do swimming stuff as a kid, and I always had ear infections, swimmer's ear. My ears couldn't handle the pressure. There's a lot of pressure under all that water. So not only handle the pressure, but submarine type energy, deep dive. And Gemini is really, it's like Gemini energy is not as deep, right? It's more, the difference between Cancer and Gemini is very, very stark for a lot of reasons. But that's sort of a future thing. Set healthy boundaries. Number 3, armadillo spirit. Set healthy boundaries. All right. Hope everybody's doing well. Sending out a prayer for healing, healing of the body, healing of the mind. I'm trying to think if I had any more messages, because I definitely did a couple laps around my own mental docket where I just had to release everything I wanted to say because I didn't have time to make a video. So whenever that happens to me, that's I trust it. If I'm supposed to let a bunch of information go and not remember it and not be able to share it, then it wasn't collective. It was me and my thoughts and stuff. So very excited to be getting back to long form readings and little shorts. And as always, email me if you have questions or want to talk about things or want to book a session with me. I do personal readings and remote healing. Okay, goodbye.